Back again, viewers. Andy's vlogs and food reviews here today, and it's time for what's happening around the West Midlands update. Now, I do apologise, I haven't been done one for a few weeks, have I? I'm just like I think I mentioned on Takeaway Tuesday, but if you didn't watch Takeaway Tuesday or miss your location, I've just not been 100%. I know it's been wrong with me. I've been loss of appetite and just not been myself, but I'm getting there and I'm fighting fit and I'm hopefully back to vlogging as usual. So, yeah. Right then, let's get straight on with the show, and starting in the Black Country. And the Black Country Trust has believed to have fallen behind in A&E wait target times, and it is believed to have been the NHS. It is believed that it is the worst on record. NHS guidance states that around 95% of patients should be transferred or discharged within 4 hours. Yeah, what's my opinion on this? Well, to be honest, I've mentioned this before, haven't I, about seeing doctors, and I mentioned it about the doctor surgery. I think we mentioned about one being changed before, didn't we, on this show? And really, like I've said before, everybody has a right to see the doctor. If you're not well, you need to get yourself sorted. I mean, I for one, I'm a bit of a stickler for seeing the doctors. I tend to sit here and sit at home and fight it out myself, and I'll always use like paracetamol or ibuprofen. And I know some people won't do that. But some people, like, obviously need to go into the doctor and need to get treated, and sometimes it's more serious than. Sometimes it's more serious, and you need to go to A&E or the hospital. So, in my opinion, it is really the government really needs to tackle this and needs to get a foothold on what's going on. I do understand that a lot's gone on in the past 2 to 3 years with the pandemic and everything else, but really it should be down to the government to get a foothold and get things moving quite quickly and get people into these hospitals, get their appointments, get their treatments, get the self-discharged, and then they can go back to work or wherever they're going, and then it doesn't cause the phenomenal backlog that we've got, because we've got an enormous backlog, which to me, it shouldn't be happening. We should have this under control. So, in my opinion, I think the government need to tackle this quite quickly. But what are your thoughts on it? What do you make of the what do you make of the waiting times? What do you make of the situation regarding the NHS with the hospitals? Yes, we've had ambulance strikes as well, haven't we? And I think there's some more. They mentioned a few more coming up. I think the plans were for March. Whether they happen or not, I think they're discussing it with the unions, aren't they? So we'll have to wait and see what happens. But let us know, what do you think regarding the hospitals? What can be done? What can the government do to help ease the pressure of patients having to wait or be in a queue? What needs to be done to get things moving quickly? Right, on to the next story. Right, in Willenhall, a major fire broke out in Willenhall in the early hours of Thursday at Midland Food Group Limited in, I think it's Strings Lane. Just over half the site, around 60%, has been damaged and affected. Around 50 firefighters tackled the blaze. Yeah, I believe I have heard about this. I saw bits of it. I know it happened. I think it happened I think it just happened just after 1 o'clock. Funny enough, I'd been to work, but I wasn't in that area at the time. Obviously, if I had, I would have reported on it at that time. But I was not in that area. But I have heard. I'm sure I read something that I think that's possibly an accident. I think, but don't quote me, viewers. I could be wrong. I'm sure I read somewhere that they think that could have been an accident. Yeah, so obviously I don't believe anybody. I don't think anybody got injured in the fire. But yeah, what's my opinion on this? Yeah, I mean we're seeing quite a number of fires, aren't we, in the area? I mean, so many things are happening. I mean, we did have that fire in West Bromwich, didn't we? We had that big fire in Kelvin Way, was it, at the recycle plant, didn't we? And we covered that. We're getting quite a lot of fires lately, whether they're suspicious or not. But there just seems to be an awful lot of fires going on, doesn't there? I mean, I think I know there was two last week. I'm going to report on the other one at the end of the show. But yeah, it just seems to be an awful lot going on. I mean, like I said, I did hear reports it was an accident, so I'll have to double check that. But yeah, was you in the area? Was you anywhere near Willenhall at the time? I think it happened around 1:05 in the morning. I will put links in the descriptions for today's stories so you can check them out and have a read. But was you in the area? Did you see any smoke? Did you see the fire broke out? I have seen a couple of pictures of it. Like I say, I will put a couple of pictures on the screen for you to see, for those of you who haven't seen already. But yeah, let me know if you was in the area and what you make of that incident and the fire. Right, now over to Aldridge now, and an abandoned pub could be becoming flats. The Bowman in Myatt Avenue will possibly be demolished and be replaced by 1 and 2 bedroom flats, around 12 of them. The pub was closed down due to antisocial behaviour such as fly tipping and vandalism, and I think the pub closed. I think it closed in 2019. Yeah, we've done a few on pubs, haven't we? That have closed down. There's quite a few pubs closed and then becoming flats. I think there's so many houses being built now and flats, and I've lost count the amount of times I've seen a pub that's going to become houses or flats, and I just can't get my head round how many I've seen. I can understand why. I'm absolutely convinced the smoking ban in pubs partially was to blame. I do know the price of beer now can be very expensive. I mean, you can get some decent beer now at perhaps the Wetherspoons, and some of these backstreet pubs you can find are pretty reasonable with their prices. Obviously, all that comes down to the cost of living now, doesn't it, and the way everything's gone up. I mean, they have to. I know some pubs, I think, have actually fell victim to the price of energy, which is another thing the government need to get out of. They need to sort that out. So, unfortunately, I think there could be more instances of pubs closing down if the government don't sort quite a lot of this out. It does seem to me quite appalling what we're seeing going on in this country at the moment. We're seeing so many things going, and pubs, bowling alleys, we're seeing cinemas, we're seeing a lot of these places where people like, when you've been to work all week, on Mondays, I might sound a bit old-fashioned here, viewers, but when you've been to work all week, everybody has a right to go out and unwind, chill out, or do whatever they want, to a degree. Obviously, legal pending, that is, obviously. But a lot of this is getting worse, and some of these places, these local pubs and that, people can't do it no more, because some people can't even afford it, and some people can't go because their pub's closed down. And it really is a shame, and I hope we don't see too many more pubs closed down, because it is nice to go out and have a sociable drink. I like to go and have a sociable drink and a meal myself. I've always liked it. It's nice, especially when you've worked hard all week and you're waiting for that time to switch off and go and enjoy yourself at the end of the week. So yeah, leave your thoughts in the comments again on that. What you think? I mean, do you go to the pubs of a weekend? Do you go of an evening when you've been to work? And what do you make of the cost of energy? Do you think it's affecting the pubs? Because I certainly do. I think it's the cost of energy, and I also think the cost of living is having a massive impact on a lot of these social places and events that are closing down. And I really think it needs to be dealt with as soon as possible. So yeah. Right, on to the final story that happened on Tuesday. I did want to get round to doing this, but I just didn't get round. I tried to fit everything in last week. Dudley Port, which comes under Tipton, yay, where I used to live. At around 6 p.m. on Tuesday, the emergency service were called to the post office in Dudley Port in Tipton, and they were called out, and the front of the post office was destroyed. One person unfortunately got injured in the fire, and it is thought that it is suspicious and rumoured to be arson. Yeah, I mean, we mentioned it earlier, didn't we, about the Willenhall fire? Obviously, that we believe's an accident, from what I've heard. But apparently there was two suspects that were wearing balaclavas who were seen, I think, near the post office, and they believe that this fire is treated very suspicious, and they believe that they were heavily involved. Yeah, I mean, look, if you're going out and doing things like this, seriously, it needs to stop. It's really not worth it. There's, like I've said before, there's many things to do out there. There's plenty of sport. There's plenty of, yes, I do know that some things have closed down, but there is still plenty to do of a weekend or in the week. You don't need to resort to any sort of antisocial behaviour at all. I mean, when you commit any form of violence or act against any building or person or animal or anything else, there will be consequences. And you have to think about your actions before you do this. Guys, it shouldn't be happening. People need to stop it. They really do. And I think, and I've got to be totally honest, they need tough prison sentences for these people. At the end of the day, people get hurt. Clearly a lady got hurt in this. Luckily she's okay, and I'm so glad she is. But this needs to stop. So for everybody in this country who goes out and decides they're going to be stupid, they're going to commit crime or any sort of act against any individual, needs to think of the consequences of their actions. Because I can tell you this now, I don't condone any sort of violence or anything against anything or anybody where somebody could get injured or even killed. Like I say, if you are thinking of doing any of this, don't. Stop it. You know, go out, find plenty to do. Look at what your interests are. Look at what's out and about. Look on the internet to see what you can do that's sociable. There's plenty of places you can go. You don't need to do this. I'm not sure if the two people who were seen were caught or not. I haven't had a chance to have a read of it, to be honest. I've literally came home from work and literally tried to get all this done as quickly as I could. But yeah, guys, if you are one of these who's gonna do stupid things, look, you're ruining your lives. Don't do it. It's not worth it. We've got enough going on in the country, which I think the government need to sort out personally, that's more important than going out and setting things on fire or vandalising buildings or dumping your rubbish on property where you shouldn't dump it, there's a tip, there's a bins, there's plenty of them about. Don't do it. So that's my advice. But for everybody else who is the right side of the law and doesn't do any of this, was you anywhere near the post office? Did you see any people near the scene? Did you see anything? Did you see the smoke or anything at the time? Was you in the area, or was you like me and just heard it on the news or read it in the paper? But yeah, leave your thoughts in the comments below on this. I'm not sure what's happening with the post office now in Dudleyport. I don't know what will happen with it, but hopefully, I know that I believe the lady's okay. She's been discharged. She actually got discharged on site. She didn't want the hospital treatment, so I'm so pleased that she's okay. But yeah, for anybody who's watching, just stop it. Seriously, it's not right. Right then, viewers, that's pretty much everything I wanted to cover today. Thank you very much for watching the show. Hope you all have a fantastic evening. Thanks to everybody who subscribed to the channel of late. I really do appreciate it. And thanks to all the lovely comments. I'll see you on the next one. And it's bye for now.